everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. My name is Cindy. I'm at Simply Cindy. I am a medium. I'm a psychic medium. I have lots of tools in my bag. I love astrology. Please forgive my voice. I've had laryngitis. I'm getting over that. Um, we've got lots of things going on around the world. And so I just kind of want to go over some of that with you. Um, Now, all of that was just the full moon in Aquarius. On the same day, not only are you going to have these perceptions and these identity changes, this way of looking at things, this way of feeling, dealing with people and dealing with work and dealing with whatever, family, that's just part of it. The next thing that we have on the 19th are these T-squares, okay? So I know I don't talk a lot about aspects yet because I don't want to confuse you guys, but I'm going to go a little bit advanced on you guys because, first of all, I think you're smart and can handle it. Secondly, you can always look back at this. And third, I'm going to make this into one video itself anyway. I've been wanting to do it eventually. Um, and fourth, it's because it's really all happening right now. So I don't want to miss this opportunity to help you guys understand. You know how I say, this is only part of the story. There's a whole story going on here, right? So I'm going to bring in other parts of the story. Does that make sense to you guys? All right. So we're going to talk about the T-squares. Okay. So when you think of a T-square, first of all, a T-square is an aspect. It's them talking. Remember, conversation. Remember, as a medium, this is, if you've never seen me before, this is how I see the planets. As a medium, they have personalities and they're characters and they talk to me. It's not the same language that we talk here, but they do talk to me, right? So I can see them in their quirkiness, in their deceptiveness, in their, they just have these conversations, right? And so I get an understanding of them and then I can translate that to you guys, right? So a T-square, and I've got all this stuff in here, right? So you're going to have to look really hard, right? But a T-square is when there's a focal point and two squares and then an opposition, okay? Did you see that? This is the focal point because this is the first square. This is the first T-square. Focal point, the apex, the focal point, we call it the apex. Then you have a square from the focal point to the, or from the apex here. You have the square, and then from the apex to here, you have another square. And then from here to here, you have the opposition. Okay, did everybody get that? Let me know if you got that. Let me know if you understood that. Let me know if I can go further. I'm going to take it real slow because I want y'all to understand. This is why I don't teach them all the time, but in my membership, I'm going to be teaching stuff like this. Okay? And my membership is going to be cheap. I think it's going to be like $5, $6. It's not going to be expensive at all. But I'm going to give you tarot and I'm going to give you stuff like this. And I want you to, this is why I'm doing this tonight, because first of all, the opportunity is here. We have all these things going on. And secondly, so you can see, and you can see how I teach. So, yes, Denise, you're going to get a star. So is Lorna. And I'll give Alejandro one too. And Joe as well. Okay, so sitting here mesmerized. I know. Thank you so much. I love that you guys are mesmerized, but I have to have you engaged because then I'm like, hello, are they still there? Because sometimes a stream I'll fall off and I won't know, right? I think one time I was talking for 20 minutes. I was channeling and I didn't even know. Anyway, okay. So, thank you. I had to get some honey. Okay, so that's a T-square, right? So we've got the apex, the point, and then we have the two squares, and then we have this opposition. Now, all this is telling us is that these four planets are having a conversation about you. Remember, you're the star. Remember, you're the head of the table. Remember, you're the guest of honor. Okay? They're having a conversation about you. Now, how do you work with a T-square? Because that tells us what kind of conversation it is. It gives us clues, right? What kind of conversation it is and how we move through the conversation, right? Because it's all for your growth. It's all for your soul's understanding. It's all for your consciousness understanding, right? It's all here to help you. So when you get a T-square, it's about solving your problem. And I'm going to say this for natal and when you look at it individually, but we are going to be looking at this on a global scale too. So when I say this next part, it's going to feel a little different when I'm talking about globally, okay? And you'll understand in just a minute. So a T-square is about a problem that you need to solve. And there is no help from another person. Now, sorry. There can be help from the universe, right? And your higher self and your angels and whatever, right? But I'm talking about and that's where usually they're kind of quiet too, because this is where you, for your soul to understand a different way, need to work through this problem, whatever this is. Okay? Now you can understand that's for you personally, but on a global scale, it would tell me, okay, well, and I'm going to bring up what's going on right now. If if the UK is going through, if the UK is going through what they're going through right now with we the people, right, and their government, if that's their T-square, this is just an example. If that's their T-square, nobody's coming to help them. That means no Americans are coming to help them. Doesn't mean that we Americans don't want to because we love you. We the people, right? Trust me, we'd be the first ones over there. But we're looking at it as if it's a T-square. If we get into trouble, nobody's coming to help us either, right? Does all that make sense? On a personal scale, it's because it's for your soul's growth. On a global scale, on a societal scale, it's because us as a society need to solve this problem. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? All that makes sense? And you must overcome this. You will overcome this. You will find a solution. Now, to do that, this is where these clues come in, right? Because there's a square here. Now, this is already conjunct. This is Jupiter and this is Mars. We just went through the Mars and Uranus, right? And this is now, we know Mars and Jupiter, it's almost like in Gemini, because remember they have to, so how do we work with it? Let me back up. How do we work with the T-square? We're going to look at the apex. We're going to look at the point. We're going to look at the focal point, right? So the focal point is this Jupiter, which is exact, right? So it's exact 17 and 28 degrees. 17 degrees and 28 minutes. 17 degrees and 28 minutes. And this is right at 18. That's like, what, 30 seconds off, right? So, or 2 minutes and 30 seconds off, sorry. So it's still within, right? Now, what's going on here? Jupiter, Mars. Jupiter, Mars, we already know. Jupiter wants to, it's the guru. It's the abundance. It's the higher knowledge. It's the way to be able to understand something that you hadn't before that wasn't even in your realm, right? You weren't even thinking about it. And you're like, wow. It's like this. It's like you guys looking at astrology and you're like, wow, it's much bigger than just the signs, right? It's like that's Jupiter. Jupiter is that guru. Jupiter is that understanding. Jupiter is that expansion of your higher mind, right? Mars, on the other hand, is about the self. Mars is about the ego. Mars is about cutting. Mars is about let's go yesterday, right? And so these two planets are working together. They're not working against each other. So I know Mars a lot of times doesn't play well with others, but he's playing really well with Jupiter, and he played real well with Uranus. Now we may not have thought that was real well, but that was sort of needed for our society. When Uranus and Mars were together, that was when Trump and Biden made their things happen. Like, they didn't make their things happen, but that's when Trump almost got assassinated, and then Biden stepped out of the race, right? Declined, right? And so this is a focal point. We're in the sign of Gemini, right? So they have to play by Gemini's rules. This is how you work with a T-square. You're looking at that area of your life in your chart. Wherever you have Gemini is what's going to be focused here. Okay? Now, Jupiter is going to square first, and then it has the influence and the conversation that he's had with Mars. Okay? So he's squaring Saturn over here. This is what I told you guys before of why you feel like I have the energy to do it all. I'm so clear because it's Gemini. Gemini's like thinks fast and is quick and can think clearly and can get it. And then Mars going into Gemini, there's going to be a little bit more advanced. Mars is fire, Gemini is air. What does oxygen do to fire? Right? So it's got a lot of energy in there, right? And it's processing things. And Jupiter is helping you see it in a way that you hadn't seen it, right? And so all of a sudden you got all these ideas. I know exactly what to do. I know how to get there. I know how to talk to them. I know what to do. Like, you could be doing that or wanting to do that. And Saturn over here that's squaring him, right? So basically they're having a little bit of an argument. Saturn's like, I don't think so. You need to reel it back in. You need to check that again. You need to see it from a different side. You need to take some time with it. You need to realize the responsibilities that are going to come with it. You need to, like, that's Saturn. Restricting time, right? And so he's having that conversation with these two who are going hog wild in toward Gemini's house, right? And Gemini's adaptable. You can talk a Gemini into and out of anything. Trust me. So they're all talking Gemini into this, and Saturn's like, yeah, I don't think so. Because first of all, Capricorns love Geminis. I know they hate them too, but they do love them. And it's ruled by Saturn. And so he's protecting. He's like, I don't think so. I think you need to look at this again. Because remember, he's in retrograde. But he's also constricts, restricts, pulls you back in, right? And so he's having that conversation with them. And they're also having this conversation with Venus, right? Now, Venus is no longer going to be retrograde at this time, right? But she's still in Virgo. And Virgo is very critical. And Virgo wants to plan it out. And Virgo wants to organize it. And Virgo will talk about it, but maybe not listen to others, right? So they're again saying, I want to go. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how to handle him. I know exactly how to have this loan. I know how to start this business. I know how to make my boss look at me better. I know what projects to do. Like all of a sudden you just have all this energy, and it will depend on where Gemini, what house is Gemini in for you, right? To the area that's going to be focused on. And then Venus is like, I don't think you're doing that right. That's what Venus is going to be telling them. It's a square, so they're kind of having a little bit of perturbedness, right? Um, so Venus is like, man, I don't think you're doing it right. I don't think you've looked at this long enough. I don't think you thought about this well enough. I'm not sure if you planned it out correctly. I think that you could do this way better. That's how Venus is acting in Virgo. And she could be really passive aggressive too, because she could be like, that sounds really good, but I'm not really sure if that's gonna make it. Um, if it was me, I would kind of do it this way. That's kind of Venus, the passive aggressiveness, right? So, um, you've got Saturn restricting you, and you've got Venus being too critical of you, and you've got all this energy that wants to go, right? And you've got this clear way that you see to do this thing, right? And so all these two, Saturn and Venus, because they're opposing, so they're basically the base, the foundation. They're what makes the foundation to have this move forward. Does that make sense? This is not going to be easy. People are going to tell you you're doing it wrong. People are going to tell you, maybe passive aggressively, that you should take more time. Maybe you're going to see it where you thought you saw it clear, and then all of a sudden you don't have the resource, or you don't have the knowledge, or you don't have the blah blah blah, and you got to, like, to be able to do this part, you got to study this. To be able to do this, you got to find that. To be able to, like, you have to work with these two. That's how you work through a T-square. Work with these two. And that's why I said what they're asking of you, right? So that you know how to work through that focal point. Does that make sense? So they're saying you could be right. Like Venus is probably saying, you could be right. You could probably make a lot of money. You could probably make a marriage. You could probably make a lot of friends. You could probably do this right. You could. You're probably right. But I would check again. I would get a little bit more detailed. I mean, you could be right. But what's the harm in checking again? Right? Where Saturn is like, I think you do need to check again. I think that you do. And so you could be having these conversations within yourself. Like, okay, slow down. I know you really want to do this, and I know you see it clearly, but let's slowly roll. Let's calm down, and let's think about this, Cindi, or let's think about this, Lorna, or let's think about this, Denise, or let's think about this, Alejandra, or let's think about this, Joe, right? Like, do we have the time? Have we put the time in? Do we have the resource? Are we being responsible? Are we gonna be responsible in other places and be responsible in this? Do we have the responsibility where we can, all of that. That's how you're gonna work through this T-square. Now, all that, and I told you, energy does not stop and start. So this is gonna start, if it hasn't already, on the 14th, around there, all the way to like the 24th. But whatever this problem is, we're going to get through it. We're going to find a solution. Okay? It's a T-square. Now, on the 19th specifically is when the T-squares will be exact. And yes, I said T-squares because I'm about to show you another one. The T-squares are going to be exact. And we have the full moon, which I just explained. Okay? So you got this letting go. You got this understanding. You got this T-square you're working with, right? Now I'm going to show you the second T-square. So not only do we have these four talking to each other, and now that you know how to work through a T-square, solving your problem, and nobody can come and help you. They can, but they usually don't. Okay? Now, Then we have this T-square. So we have Uranus squaring the moon and squaring the sun with the conjunct Mercury in retrograde, right? So you've got Uranus squaring, or we'll say Uranus is T squaring. So Uranus is squaring the full moon. So he's squaring Leo and Aquarius, right? So the moon and the sun and Mercury in retrograde, right? Now, remember what I said. The focal point is Uranus, right? In Taurus. Y'all have already seen how Uranus has been running amok in Taurus. All the hurricanes, all the bad weather, all the eruptions, all the rain, the storms, the food, all of that. That's all Taurus, right? And that's Uranus changing shit. When Mars came by, we saw the big change where on Trump and for Biden. And I don't even talk about Kamala Harris because I don't even think she's an issue. Like, I'm probably going to offend people, but I already told you I don't really talk politics because I believe they're both wrong. Anyway, my thing is I don't talk about Kamala or Kamala. First of all, because I know her from California. And secondly, I don't feel like we're going to have an election. And y'all have already seen this week how we're progressing to war, how we're already going and finding a war. I told you that last week. I already told you what's going to happen. I may get the countries wrong, but I don't think I got the situation wrong. Okay? So, we've got Uranus at 27 degrees. 27 degrees, right? So, Uranus at 27 degrees. Something is... Remember, this is the focal point, and Uranus is the rebellion. Uranus is the freedom. Uranus is the I like to change shit all the time and throw you for a loop. And you think I'm being mean, but I'm not being mean as Uranus. I'm just needing you to change it to get you back on your path, to get you freedom, to help you feel better, to help you move around in your life better, in your job better, in your relationships better, in your whatever better, right? So that's Uranus in Taurus. It's going to be talking about Taurus themes because it's in the house of Taurus, right? So again, food, weather, the ground. I'm trying to think of Taurian things, luxuries, just Taurian themes, Taurus themes, okay, in Uranus. But Uranus has already been doing stuff in there, and we've already seen it on this Earth, right? So something is going to, and trust me, you won't know what it is, because whatever you think it is, it's going to be completely different. It just won't. You won't know what it is. You can try, but I'm telling you, that's Uranus. Uranus likes to shock and awe, right? And so, as he's squaring the sun, and he's squaring the moon, just like when these two, Jupiter and Mars, are squaring Saturn, right? We need to use this square to help us solve this problem that nobody's going to come solve for us, okay? So, when this change comes, whatever this is, like in a normal way, we kind of know what this would be, but this is Uranus. We're not going to know until it happens. Remember, on the 19th, but again, I'm saying from the 14th through the 24th, there's something that's needing to be let go of, or said correctly, or maybe it was misrepresented or understood or misspoken, or yeah, there's something here with Uranus when this happens that we need to be very clear about, and that's with the sun and the moon, so that we can let go of the correct thing. And I'm talking correct for your soul, because everybody's correct is different, right? So whatever this is, it is going to be Taurus themed. I can say that. And it is going to have emotion. I can say that. But you are going to be able to see it. I can say that. I'm wondering if this has come out before because of this retrograde here, or if when this happens, you can't process it correctly. Like, I almost feel like you know how when you're in shock, like real shock. I know we say Uranus is shock and awe, but you know how when you're in real shock and you're like you just can't process it? It's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like, did that just happen? Like, did that just happen? Right? So just know that's how you work through these T-squares. This is going to be the focal point, the second one. So not only do we have the full moon, you got to let go of something. But we've got 2 T-squares. There's something to get through this Uranus thing that's going to be felt on a deep level. And because it's Aquarius, I feel like you've never felt this, or you haven't felt it in a long time, or you haven't felt it in this way a long time, or you haven't ever felt it in this way. Because it's Aquarius. And a lot of people think that Aquarians can't feel. The issue is not that Aquarians can't feel. The issue is that Aquarians feel too much. And so we are gifted with being able to detach. Okay? Now, I feel like this is going to be something you hadn't felt before. I also feel like this is something that has maybe happened, or no, maybe you've seen this before, but you didn't realize you'd seen it before, because it is coming back around, and you're going to see it very clearly this time, but it is going to take you a minute to process this. Does that make sense? And that's how you're going to be dealing with these 2 T-squares and the full moon. Okay? That's not it. We got one last thing. Exactly. I haven't felt what I'm feeling in a long time. And also, emotions come up in a completely different way. Thank you. Thank you. Like, I'm channeling, and I'm trying to, like, say where you guys will understand. And just know, like, in a minute, I'll ask you where your houses are. And maybe I can help you with that. But I want to talk about this last thing. And that is the finger of God, or the Yod, or the finger of fate. Okay? Now, this is something I'm going to teach you guys also in the membership, but I thought I'd go over it very quickly, because all these aspects I can go in real deep. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of what I'll be doing in the membership, right? I'll just make videos, and you guys can watch the videos and just learn this stuff. Now we go to the finger of God, or the Yod. Now, people around my age are probably going to have the Yod. Okay, I have a Yod. I call it a Yod more than the finger of God. But basically, a Yod is 2 inconjuncts, or 2 quincunx. Inconjuncts and quincunx are the same thing. So 2 quincunx and a sextile. Okay? Now, a quincunx is 150 degrees, and a sextile is 60 degrees. Okay? Here is the quincunx. This is the first quincunx. This is Pluto in Aquarius, and a quincunx can be as far out as 3 orbs, which means 3 degrees, right? So any more than that, I don't think it's a quincunx. I mean, I don't think it's a finger of God. I don't think it's a Yod. So here's the Pluto in Aquarius. And if you look at this line, it goes right up to here, because 26 and 27 is still 3 degrees from 0, right? Which makes it a quincunx. So that Pluto is putting pressure on that Sun and that Mercury, and then it goes down to here. See this one? To Neptune, which is at 29 degrees, right? It's still all within 3 orbs, still all within 3 degrees, right? So Neptune is putting pressure on the Sun and Mercury, and Pluto is putting pressure on the Sun and Mercury, right? And then they are talking to each other to hold, to take a stance, to almost make a foundation to that point. Okay? Now here's another way to say it. A quincunx is like saying the quincunx is where the crisis is, right? The 150 degrees, the quincunx is where the crisis is, the first quincunx, right? It's the this is where you can create a deep and internal psychological paralysis. This is where you're like, I don't know what to do, right? Or I don't know what's going on. I need some understanding. I don't know. Like that's a quincunx. Okay, that's the 150 degrees, right? Then we have the sextiles, right? So Neptune and Pluto. So basically, you're feeling this pressure in this area on the same day or around the same time that you are having this new moon, this full moon, that's also activated with this Uranus, right? So you've got the full moon affecting you, and then you have this Uranus T-square affecting you, and then you have this finger of God, this Yod affecting you, which is like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I don't know. Like, it's confusion, right? And a T-square can be confusion as well. So then you have the sextile, which is the supporting two planets. So these planets are basically saying, these two, they're basically saying, there is a mission, there is a specific way that your soul wanted to grow, that your soul wanted to understand, that your soul wanted to experience, but you don't have, how do I say this? You don't have enough experience in this, and you don't have enough information in this. And this is where your soul is lacking, right? Now, that's in a that's usually in your natal, but in your transit, it kind of works like that too. It's like there is something that your soul is needing to experience either again for the transit or in a different way, but you feel like you don't have enough information or enough experience to be able, so it's almost like feeling stuck. Does that make sense? It's almost like feeling stuck. So you've got these two quincunxes and Pluto saying, and so how you do this, the way you work with a yod is that you look at the planet and then the house again, right? And then you can just say Pluto's putting pressure on these two, and Neptune is putting pressure on these two. It's almost like these two. Now, an Aquarius would look at it like these two are ganging up on me over here, but it's not like that. It's these two have information for you and are trying to guide you, but you're being stubborn about this thing. And you need to get through this thing. And some of you don't want to do it because you feel like you don't have enough experience, you don't have enough resource, you don't have enough, like you're inept. That's the way you feel about this, right? So, on top of the full moon and the letting go, and then working with that T square and feeling pressure, you're going to feel pressure, you're going to feel confusion, you're going to feel loss, but you're also going to feel clarity, right? Because you've got that Uranus that move is going to move it. And then you've got that Jupiter and Mars that will cut it off if you're being responsible and you're taking the time and you plan it out. So maybe something happens in that Taurus house and then you process it in the Gemini house and then you let it go in the Aquarius house. Does that make sense to you guys? So, I don't want to go too in depth about the Yod. I'm going to put that into my membership. And then I'm going to go over, like in my membership, I'm going to go over the aspects. I'll go over the T-squares again and make it even more in depth and per sign and stuff. So, I know that was a lot of information, but that's what's going to be going on. Like, we have a lot going on. The thing with a Yod that you have to know, or a finger of God, or finger of fate, whatever, is that crisis will come and opportunity will follow. Okay? So, hi Aries. So, crisis will come and opportunity will follow. So, the crisis will come and then we'll get an opportunity. Right? Now, when the opportunity comes, remember those T-squares. We got to work with them. Right? So does everybody understand that? And I think I might come in tomorrow and go over these T-squares and Yods in three countries. So the U.S. and Canada and the U.K. And that's because those are the three countries that mainly see me. So I pulled their charts and I kind of want to show you how the Yod and the T-squares are going to be affecting and the full moon. Okay. Thank you, Denise. So Denise says, I feel as if my whole internal world is in crisis. Yeah, a lot of people, Denise. That's why I'm doing all this. And I say so in the intro of my videos. Like, I just want to give. Do I know all the answers? No. I don't know all the answers. But I can translate what your higher self says, and I can see in the chart, and I can get messages, and if I can give some relief, like it's, even though that this stuff sounds a little scary or a little bit like, oh my God, just knowing it may help you feel better. Just knowing it. So if things happen, you're like, okay, now if my chart is going to do that, okay, this just happened. Now I got to remember, I don't need to take a step real quick. I don't need to react. I just need to chill out. I need to rethink this. The answer is going to come. I need to take the time. I need to, I'm hoping that it does that for you guys, where you kind of know, okay, this is the part, right? This is where I can do it this way. Like, I'm just hoping to relieve some of that, to relieve it a lot more, you'd have to come see me, right? We can do other things. But as for the astrology, because I see the patterns, because I channel, because I love astrology, I just enjoy sharing it with you guys. And the only reason that I the two reasons that I was teaching you the T squares and the Yod and all of that is because of the membership, because I kind of want to let y'all, you know what you're going to get. And then because it's happening right now and I couldn't miss the opportunity. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity. I'm like, I'm sort of the teacher that likes you to see the real experience, you know, through as much as you can so that it soaks in, so that it stays, right? So Denise says, you truly are helping. You're an angel on earth. Oh, thank you, Denise. I swear. Y'all are so nice. No one gives us freedom of choice. Yes, thank you, Alejandro. That's what I was trying to say. Thank you for saying that. It does. It makes me feel better, you know, um, to know, okay. Because, like, if something, because you guys know, I'm a Sagittarius moon, right? And Aquarius and Gemini, but mostly the Sagittarius moon. I can be reactive. And so, you know, knowing this, I can be like, okay, calm your little ass down, Cindi. Like, just take a chill pill. Because if you know any Sagittarius, our blood boils when there's injustice. It just boils. It's like I can really tell that fire if there's injustice or if there's something wrong. You know, it's almost like I'll burn down the earth. I don't really care. Right? So, knowing this part is like, okay, just calm your little butt down. Take a breath, count to 10. Aries, where do I join? So, YouTube won't let me do the membership until I have 3,000 hours. And I know that I have more than, I don't know, 500,000 hours because of how long I've been doing YouTube. But they count it by 3 months. So because I just started back again, right? I started 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and then I had to start again, a month and a half, a month. How long have I been on here now? A month. I came back a month ago because I finally got settled into my place. Anyway, I have to have 3,000 hours and then I can do the membership. So I'm waiting. I've got 21. So I've got 2,100 hours. So the more y'all watch the videos, the more y'all be able to, yeah. She said, okay, I will rewatch videos. Yes, absolutely. If you can get me to that 3,000, then we'll start the membership. But in the meantime, I'm making all these videos for the membership too. So that once we start it, I'll have things like this to release. So, I want to thank you guys. Do you have any questions? I know that was a lot of information. The biggest thing, and this is why I was saying before tonight, you got to be clear about you. Like, it's time to take care of you because there's going to be things happening where you got to know who you are, right? And how you feel. And it's not like you haven't known who you are. It's that you have changed. And so it's time to get reconnected with you. Well, how do I believe? What do I believe? How do I feel? What am I identifying as? What am I doing? Right? So, yeah. So before we leave though, I'd like everybody to know Alejandra got job offers. And I know some of you guys were here the other night when I was doing live readings and Alejandra asked a question. And so if you want to elaborate on that and just let us know, that way people can keep updated with you because we're building our community again, and these things are important. And I want you to know that you're important. I'm important. Lauren is important. Denise is important. Aries Saves Lives is important. Joe's important. Even those that don't want to say anything, they're in the background. You're important too, right? So so you were able to pick one because you said you got a couple of offers. She'd asked about a job, and I said I remember saying there was three, but I was channeling, so I got to go back and look at it. That's kind of why I wanted you to elaborate because I don't remember when I'm channeling, sometimes I don't remember everything. I know, very exciting. So Denise says, congratulations, Alejandro. So excited for you. Yeah. And so Monday is your first day. That is so awesome. And again, thank you for the hearts. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you guys for watching the videos over and over again to get me to the 3,000. Okay, I'm getting ready for it. Okay, sweetheart. Thanks for coming in, Aries. See you later. Alejandra, good luck. I will see you soon. Denise, thank you. I'll have to rewatch this live as I missed the first part. Perfect. Yeah, Denise, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye, everyone. Lorna may be asleep. She has to work in the morning, and it's 1:30 over here on the West Coast. So, and all of those, no questions, but appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. So, I love you, love you, love you. I will see you soon. Bye.